everybody. It's so nice to be here today. I'm Brenda Miller, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Basking Ridge, New Jersey, and I am here with my weekly quick class. And today we are going to be making a wedding or shower card. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of weddings this summer. I have been fortunate enough to have people in all different parts of my life have their children uh, having a wedding. So I'll be going to actually, I have 3 weddings in 4 weeks at one point this summer. So I'm going to be very busy. And of course, I have all the showers that go with them. And it's all very exciting, especially post COVID. It's so nice to be able to get together with people. And I'm looking forward to every single one of these. But I need some cards, right? And my daughter in law actually was here a few weeks ago, actually on Mother's Day, and we were looking at some of the cards that I had made, and I was sharing some of them with her to take with her. And she says, I really could use some wedding cards. They're crazy expensive at the stores. And I said, you know what? We can take care of that. So I'm finally getting to the point where I'm going to take care of some wedding cards. So that being said, let's go ahead and flip over to my desktop and I'll show you what I'm going to be making. So here we go. So here is the card. Now it is both a fun fold and it has a special technique that I'm going to share with you. And I want to show you what is really special about it is that it has a secret little pocket where you can put a gift card or a check. And I know that this is not necessarily the case throughout the country or throughout the world, but here in New Jersey, the typical wedding gift is a check. Very rarely do you see somebody show up with a gift. And even at a lot of the showers these days, the kids are living together for a while. There's nothing that they really need. So they ask for, a donation to their house fund or a donation to their honeymoon fund. And, we're going to spend money anyway. So, of course, I'm happy to do it. But of course, I was thinking, I have to make sure that I have a place to put the check. And that it fits nicely. So here we go. We have a little pocket. So let me show you how I made this card. So we are going to start with a piece of basic white cardstock. This is the thick basic white, and it measures, it's half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and it measures, let's just get my paper cutter here, it measures 4.25 by 11, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my paper trimmer, and I'm going to score it at 5.5. I gotta get my reading glasses on. Sorry. Okay, so I got my glasses on, so I'm going to score it at 5.5 with my scoring blade. Okay, I'll give it a nice score, and then I'm going to score it again at 2.75. So here we go, scoring at 2.75. This is a little easier than using my scoreboard. And one more thing I'm going to do on the end where I've scored the 2.75, I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to take off 1/2 inch. And you can see I'm using the other side of the trimmer to measure that at 1/2 inch. And I'm bringing over my cutting blade. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off 1/2 inch. Okay. And you'll see why in a few minutes. All right, so that's how, those are my measurements, and this will all be on my blog shortly. And I'm going to go ahead and fold it at the score line, give it a good crease, and then I'm going to fold at the 2.75, previously 2.75, and I'm going to give that a nice fold, okay? So we have that. Now, before I do anything else, just because it makes sense to me to do it, I cut a piece of, this is smoky slate cardstock, and this is going to fit right here, but we need to make our little cutout so that the person getting the card knows to look for something there. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and cut it out like so. And I'm using, this is a 1.75 inch circle punch. And then I'm going to take my other piece. Now, originally I went ahead and cut it at the same time, but what I'm going to do here is do it separately and just line it up so that I get it in the same spot. And this just makes it easier to punch out. So you can see, whoop, by doing it upside down, I can put it in the same place and give it a little snip. And that just makes it easier to punch. When I did it before, it wasn't quite as easy. Okay, so now I have my little punch. Now, it's very funny. I don't know about you, but I tend to design my cards in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping. They just come to me, and then I refine them while I'm sleeping. And one of the things I came up with is that, oh, I wanted this whole card to be white, and that when you opened it up, that there would be this pocket. And then I got afraid that they might not realize that there's something in there, and they might not think to save the card and might not need, look to find the check. So by putting a piece of smoky slate on top, on the inside, this way it will draw attention to this side of the card, and they'll see, oh, look, there's a little pocket over here. And let me make sure I pull out from that pocket whatever I can. All right, so I think maybe I didn't line that up the best, but you get the idea. And while I'm here, I may as well close this. And I'm using some of our tear and tape to close it. I love this tear and tape. It's so easy to use, and it's really sticky. So I'm just going to tear a piece off. I didn't take great pains to measure it, and I'm trying to put it as close to the edge as I can. Sorry, let me show you what I'm doing again. So just it literally tears that easily. It's almost as easy as washi tape. And then we're just going to peel off the top, the protective coating, because this is double stick tape. Okay, so we'll pull that off. And I like to use my Take Your Pick tool to help me get the little edges. Just handy. I always have this tool on my desk. Okay, and so then I'm just going to close it, and then you can see you've got a nice little pocket into which you can slide whatever you need to. Okay, now let's work on the front. So the first thing that I did is I took 2 pieces of 4 by 5¼ inch basic white cardstock, and I ran it through the Countryside, I believe it's called, embossing folder, and I created 2 panels. So this piece again is 4 by 5¼ and I'm going to use my wet glue, because I do like to use wet glue when I'm using something that is dry embossed. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on the inside of the card. It just makes it just look so elegant. It's a beautiful embossing folder. And then I'm going to take, this piece is actually 2½ inches by 4, and that's so it can fit on the front panel of the card. Okay, and again, some wet glue, and we go ahead and we put it down. Oops, I want to put it this way. Not that there's a right and a wrong way, but I want to kind of show that it's the same piece of paper. You see the circles in the middle here are lining up, kind of, sort of. Okay, so there we have it. So now you can just, put a little tag on here and you're done, but I'm going to keep going. So that is the base of our card. So now let's make the focal point of our card. And I'm going to take 2 pieces of cardstock, and I'm going to use from the Countryside in bundle. This is Countryside Corners. This has a stamp that goes with it. Let me show you the stamp. It's one big stamp, just so you know. You may not be aware of that, but that's one big stamp. And all these dies, these hexagon dies, cut out shapes from there. So I'm going to be using these 2. This is for the smoky slate, and this one is for the basic white. And the basic white one, I'm going to cut out 2 of them, okay? So through the magic of television, of course, I went ahead and did that. I should say I remembered to. So that would have gone on here. And here now we have our pieces. So this is our the border. So this is going to be going onto our card like so. It's going to be right front and center. And I guess I can do that right now. And I'm only going to put my adhesive kind of generously on 1/2. Okay, because we don't want to seal up the card. We don't want it to stick together. So here we go. Let's go ahead and put that right in smack in the center of our card. And I'll hold that down and I'll count to 10 as taught by my friend Linda Gaddy. Hope she watches today. All right, so here that now we have that. So now I can put that aside and I want to work with this. So I'm just going to use one of these, and I'm going to use this wonderful stamp set. It is in the new catalog, and it was designed. It has this little logo here, and that means it was designed by one of our $1 million sellers. And that one, this is Rachel Tessman designed this, and I have to say, this is one of my favorite stamp sets in the catalog. I love the font of the different sayings on here. So I'm going to use, you could use Best Wishes from this set. I'm going to use So Happy to Celebrate You. I don't know, I think I saw it somewhere. Somebody used it, and I said, oh, that would be a perfect wedding sentiment. Obviously, Best Wishes. There are some stamps that say something like Happy Wedding Day, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this in Smoky Slate onto my hexagon, the smaller of the hexagons, okay, of the white. It's white. So see, I still have this plain white one. We're going to add that to the inside of the card later. So now we have this, and I'm going to go ahead and add this to the card because the next thing we're going to do is create our flowers. So here we go. Let's go ahead and put our hexagons on. I don't know why I cover up my adhesive every time. I know it's a good habit, but no, it's annoying. I keep taking the cap off. I know people who leave them open all the time, but then I'll end up leaving it open, and that's annoying too. So yeah, I know. I still have problems with wet glue, but look how much better I am, right, ladies? So much better. Okay. So now I'm going to take the blank one, and this is going to be the place on the inside of the card where you can write your message. And you just want to wish them luck. You can also do that on the back of the card. So what I want to do is make sure that it's going to be covered. But if I just go in the center of the card, getting pretty good at eyeballing this, I'm going to lay that down. Hopefully it's straight. I have a camera in my way, so sometimes it's hard for me to tell. And you can see that it covers it up. By using the smaller size rather than the bigger size, it's very forgiving. So if it's not exact, it doesn't matter. It'll still get covered. So anything that you write won't show through. Okay, so now we get to the best part, okay? We are going to create some flowers. So I used this punch. This was in the mini catalog that we had in the spring. It is still available, and it's the flower punch that goes with the, you know what? I don't remember the name of it. So let's quickly look that up. I always like to refer to the catalog to get these things right for you in case you decide that you want to get them because they are awesome. So it is right. Where is it? Right here. Okay. Of course, you can't see it. Let me open it up properly. It is the Petal Park Builder punch. Okay. So we could have stamped these flowers, but when I think of a wedding card, I think of white. So I went ahead and I took a sheet of, this is also the thick basic white cardstock, and just punched out a bunch of these. Okay. When you do it, I always like to look at it upside down, and then I turned it over and I put my hands on either side because you got to squeeze really hard, especially when you're using the thick cardstock. And there's nothing worse than squeezing, especially if you're holding in one hand and pinching this part of your hand. Oh my goodness, that hurts a lot for a long time. So again, these are the pieces that are punched. There's another one here somewhere with the Petal Park punch. Now we're going to take the 3 different sizes, and I'm going to use a scoring bone. You could use the side of a pencil, whatever works for you. But what I want to do is curl up the edges of the petals. And this will make them a little 3-dimensional, right? So they look really pretty when you do this. So it takes a few minutes, but it's worth it. So I'm going to do each one of them individually, each petal, making sure I get the edges. You'll see why in a few minutes. So when I did my card, I remembered when I was playing with the flowers, I remembered a technique that I did such a long time ago that involves curling the edges as well. And there's a basic way you can do this, and then there's a step it up way. So we're first now, both stages require this, which is just curling it against the edge, something, a nice solid edge, not necessarily sharp, but just so that they get curled up. Now you can assemble your flowers then like so, and that looks pretty. Okay, and that this makes for beautiful flowers that you get a lot of dimension on them. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm now going to take each flower and I'm going to separate them. Now this technique is called felted paper, and the reason is we are separating the paper. So paper is made with many layers, many very thin layers, right? And so the heavier the weight of the paper, the more layers are inside that piece of paper and pressed together to form the paper. And so you can see that by separating, of course, because I'm on television, because I'm recording, it's not as easy as it should be, but here you go. Once you usually once you get a couple of the edges, they peel nicely. So I'm separating them, and so you get to the core of the cardstock. And when you look at the core, you can see why it's called felted. Okay, you have all that dimension on there, and here you can see the difference between the two. We have the smooth one, and then we have the felted one. And actually, when you touch it, it's soft. Okay, so I went ahead and did that for all the pieces. I spent some time before coming on here to create a bunch of flowers. And now I've created, I think I have 4 here, which is what I used on my card. Usually I use 3, but for whatever reason, looks like I need, there's another piece. Okay, so I've got 4 flowers here. Now, I know I'm going to put them on my card, but I'm also going to use that bow punch. This bow punch, actually, the stamp set that Rachel created was designed to go with this bow punch. Look, we could have stamped first and then punched out the images. But again, I like working with pure white whenever I can for weddings. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to take a piece of, I'm actually going to use regular cardstock here, regular white cardstock, not the thick. I'm going to punch this out 2 times so you can see. So we have a couple of leaves. I guess boughs is what we have, because it's called a bow punch. So here we go. So these are the pieces that I'm going to be putting onto my card. So what I'd like to do is, using my wet glue, I'm going to lay down these leaves first. And again, hopefully I can remember to leave it uncapped. But I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive because I don't want them to stick too hard. I like it to look like it has dimension if I want to pull it up. So I'm going to lay one set down here. I'm going to do the same. Looks like it's hard to know if there's a right and wrong side. I don't think so. But sometimes one side is flatter than the other. And I'm going to lay this down this way. And I think I'll take one of these smaller ones, and I'm going to put this also at that side. Okay, so here we go. So that is now our backdrop for our flowers. So let's go ahead and put down the flowers. I'm going to start with a big one, right? Because this is the base. I'm going to put a dot of adhesive there and lay it right down. Maybe I want to push it up. What's nice about using the wet glue, of course, is that I can move it around a little bit if I wanted to. And I'm going to put another dot of adhesive, not a whole lot. I don't want it going through the paper. And then I'm going to layer on another one of the flowers and do it again. Dawn, you said yikes. Why are you saying yikes? I don't know. I don't know what prompted yikes. So here we go, and I put down a second one, and I guess I'm concentrating here. Let me get all these little flowers down. I know it looks like it was hard to separate the paper, but it really isn't. They go very quickly, and remember, you get two out of each one that you separate because the paper divides into two, becomes two flowers. So it makes it really quick and easy. And you don't have to put quite as many flowers on your card if you don't want to. I, of course, more flowers the better. I would probably love to do even more, but I only have so much patience. So here we have 3 flowers on here, and I'm going to put one more over here so that it's hanging off the edge. I don't want it to cover the words though, so I'm going to make sure I don't do that. And here we go. We put another dot of adhesive. And then, of course, now that we're finishing up, we have to do the one last touch that I'm using on my card. You could even probably do more flowers, more bling, whatever. But I'm going to take our iridescent pearls. I think these go with everything, but especially for wedding cards. I did an entire frame for my son and daughter-in-law with flowers, and I used like half a package of these so that they were everywhere on this frame. But I'm going to use the bigger ones, and I'm placing them right in the center. Here we go. And once you know everything's dry, what you can do as well is to maybe fluff them up a little bit, because we only put that glue in the center, and you just want to carefully puff them up if you want, just with your fingernail. All right, so that is the card. Possibly pinching your hand with the punch. Yes, that is a yikes situation. You're right. I'm sorry, I forgot I said that. Thanks for clarifying that, Dawn. So anyway, here's your little pocket to put your gift card or your check. Here's where you can write your message. And here's the beautiful card that they can then display for the happy couple. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I've done that and how easy it really is to make such a card. It's kind of considered a fun fold, but it really it's just so ridiculously simple that I'm embarrassed that I haven't shown it to you before. So, and then of course having a focal point of the card. Sorry, I'm showing you down here. Having a focal point is always nice. So thanks, Dawn. I'm glad that you like it. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know. This will also be on my blog tomorrow with all the measurements. So I hope to see you next week at my next quick class on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And thank you for joining me. So have a great day. Bye-bye.